Who are you taking first right now? You taking Bryce or you taking CJ?
CJ Stroud had a hell of a performance. I know, Blaine, you're gonna touch on that, like a good-looking mannequin later. If it's me, I'm taking Bryce Young if I'm the Texans with the #1 pick. Bryce Young did nothing for me to be like, nope, that's not him. Came out a little bit rusty early. I think Bryce, when you look at the intangibles, not only from a physical standpoint that the quarterback has to have, Bryce can make elite throws. I mean, the throw he made on the corner to, I believe it was Ja'Cory Brooks, was an elite throw. But we've seen him make tons of elite throws. What separates Bryce Young to me is Bryce Young is one of the best, not the best, but one of the best quarterbacks, at least at the college level, I have ever seen at keeping his eyes downfield while evading pressure. The amount of times that Bryce Young has manipulated in the pocket or outside of the pocket, made somebody miss while being able to find somebody. And I'm not talking about just the 60-yard pass downfield for a touchdown. I'm talking about the 5-yard crosser that he spits to Jamar Gibbs as he's getting hit when he sees a guy. Who else is unbelievable at that? Josh Allen, right? Joe Burrow. Patrick Mahomes, one of the best in the world ever at this. In the NFL, it is not, and in college football and in football in general, it is not always going to go exactly how it looks drawn up. It's just not. Most big plays come from scramble drills or broken down plays. Bryce Young's ability to make people miss, his ability to be a threat with his legs, to keep his eyes downfield without just blindly scrambling and getting himself hurt, I think makes him the best quarterback prospect in this draft.
I think the Texans are in kind of a tough spot, to be honest with you, because I don't believe that Bryce Young will be the next elite quarterback in the NFL, but I do understand the pressure from the fan base to take a quarterback when you do have that #1 pick, especially with how special Bryce has been at college. I would seriously consider taking Will Anderson, but when it came down to it, the pressure may just be too much. They may feel the need to take a quarterback because here's what you do know. You know that Bryce Young would be a better option at quarterback than you have now. And I do think he could at least give you several successful seasons. But if I told you guys in 5 seasons that Bryce Young would either be Joe Burrow or he would be Tua, which one do you think he would be?
Oh, I think it just size-wise, it'd be more Tua-ish.
Right? I mean, when you look at what Josh Allen's able to do, like you said, or Justin Herbert, or even Jalen Hurts squatting 700 pounds, what he's able to do in the run game with what Patrick Mahomes, I understand that Bryce Young is elite with his elusiveness. I'm just worried that will he be able to do that in the NFL and take the necessary hits when he gets out of the pocket? I'm not sure, but he certainly would be a better option than what they have right now.
Well, I mean, that was Matty Ice 1994. Sorry, man, I got confused with Dakota. What's up?
No, well, I mean, again, I'm thinking about the quarterbacks that we may see in free agency. I mean, Baker Mayfield in the situation with Matt Stafford. How much would you trust Baker if you're the Texans if you weren't going to go the draft route? You look at, I don't know, Daniel Jones. You got to re-sign him if you're the Giants, right?
Yeah.
I mean, don't you?
You got to.
I mean, like, come on.
You're in the playoffs.
Look at the way the man is running.
This guy was running around the other day.
That's what I'm saying.
Dropped a 36-point in fantasy.
He
dropped 36?
He's just sneaky. I mean, you look at the situation with you know, obviously Jimmy Garoppolo and the Niners getting hurt. You see what Brock Purdy's done. It's just the market. What does the market bear mixed with the fan base pressure? I think you're right, David. I don't see how you don't take one of the quarterbacks in this draft if you're the Texans. Just don't go get Will Levis. Just don't trade up to get Will Levis.
I'm higher and higher and higher on C.J. Stroud. I'm going to get into it in a second. I think you want to talk about him too. But who would you take? Who do you think the Texans should take at 1?
I'm taking Bryce Young.
Okay.
And I get the size. Look, I get the size thing, and I know you're easily hurt in the NFL when it comes to quarterback, just how big and fast everybody else is. But I have not seen a guy who has the intangibles like Bryce Young, one who can move like that in the pocket, who can anticipate. 75% of the battle at quarterback in the NFL is anticipation. All right, the kids breaking down coverage. Bryce was outplaying the kids on his team. Like he was outplaying his own receivers. This is one of the worst receiving teams I've seen at Bama. Bama's had a first-round pick, a receiver for what? The last 9 years?
Since 2017?
Something.
Oh, no, they had a 1,000-yard receiver every year since 2017.
And I would look at first-round picks, too. I mean, go through Jerry Jeudy, Amari Cooper, Henry Ruggs, Jameson Williams. These are all first-round kids. They didn't have that at Bama this year. That's why you kind of saw him somewhat numbers get worse. But Bryce Young, I think, will be closer to Joe Burrow than I think Tua. Because I think Tua, going back to college, Tua doesn't know how to get tackled.
That's just the truth.
He just doesn't know how to get tackled. I have barely seen someone square Bryce Young up. Barely seen it. Pressure, blindside, doesn't matter. I rarely see him confused a lot. Now, CJ Stroud played the best game I've ever seen him play at Ohio State. I know we're getting to it more, but the intangibles about CJ, most accurate passer, CJ Stroud, for sure. I'll give him that. But in the pocket, that's why I was worried about CJ. In the pocket, outside of the pocket, using his legs. He didn't use his legs the entire career at Ohio State. Yeah. But what did you see at Georgia? He started using his legs.
How many times did we say it? We said wasn't his first career touchdown a 55-yard touchdown scramble? With CJ Stroud? I think his first time, and then he just never ran again. And we were sitting here the whole year like, what? When they're struggling against, I know Northwestern, it was bad weather. We're like, why doesn't this man run more? It's such as a defensive guy, if you've ever had to game plan, I don't even talk about being a defensive coordinator, but if you've ever had to game plan defensively against a guy, a quarterback's ability to run changes the way you look at things. Just like in basketball. If you can shoot the three and drive and score, it makes it a whole hell of a lot harder for me to come up with a game plan to defend you. So that part of it, you talk about opening up an offense. Imagine the numbers. I know he put up great numbers, but imagine the numbers that CJ Stroud in this offense could have put up if he would have used his legs to scramble with that receiving core.
And the reason I said Joe Burrow on the other half of that hypothetical is because he's one of the few young quarterbacks having extreme success in the NFL who's not winning necessarily with his legs, the way that Josh Allen is, or the way that Lamar Jackson is, or even Jalen Hurts.
I put Justin Herbert up there with him.
True, even though I feel like Justin Herbert is so big, though. He'll go get you a 3rd and 8 in a way. Yeah. I mean, Joe Burrow will too. All of these guys can move. That's not what I'm saying. And I think Bryce Young will be able to do that too. I just want to make sure that I'm not just saying I don't think Bryce Young will be an elite NFL quarterback just because of his size. Because look at Kyler Murray. What else are you bringing to the table? Like, Kyler Murray is still a guy who never gets squared up, right? So the injuries are going to go down, things like that. I mean, it's a multifaceted.
Yeah. I mean, Kyler's injury was non-contact.
There you go.
It was just, it wasn't.
But even so, he was still doing what? Scrambling. He was out of the pocket. And so that shows you that even at the quarterback position, when you're not getting hit, you're still on the move, and it's.
And I agree with you. Justin Herbert, to me, is a lot bigger threat to run than Joe Burrow is. I think Justin's such a long strider. He just absolutely eats it. It's like when you watch Josh Allen run, you're like, man, is he really going that fast? And then you realize he's jumping 3.5, 40 yards every time he steps. So, 2.5 steps, 3 steps is 10 yards for Josh Allen. YouTube, what is up? It's me, Jake. That's David. And that's my brother, Blaine. We want you to subscribe. It's 2023, the year of Crane & Company, the year of the dragon, and the year of violence. So subscribe.